All right, welcome back to American Sunrise, a beautiful shot of New Mexico to start our morning here. The bell at the New York Stock Exchange will ring in just a few minutes, but as we wait, let's take a quick look at the futures. We have the charts up on our screen right now, taking a closer look at the three major indices. The Dow Jones looks like it's down about 60 points. S&P 500 down about 6 points. NASDAQ down about 1 point. Another day in the red to start out the markets. We will send it over to David in the meantime.
Okay. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate it. President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill is in the hands of the Senate. So what are the political and historical implications of it? Both party campaign committees are already starting political ads centered on the measure. It has become a focal point for control of Congress in the midterm elections. Joining us now to discuss this more is independent political analyst and political historian Rich Rubino. Rich, also the author, by the way, of the Great American Political Trivia Challenge. Appreciate you joining us here, Rich. So this is an interesting contour situation for both parties. The Democrats think, as a matter of fact, Hakeem Jeffries and others have said, if this one big, beautiful bill passes, that will be the beginning of the Democrat majority in the House. They believe they will easily take back the House in 2026. So what's your view on that?
Well, I think from a historical perspective, generally speaking, in the 6th year of a presidency, the party that is out of power tends to pick up seats in the House of Representatives. In 1998, Bill Clinton's Democrats pick up seats in the House of Representatives rather than losing them. The first time that's happened since 1820 with James Monroe. So historically, that's usually what happens. The only precedent we have for a 6th year of non-consecutive presidency would have been Grover Cleveland in 1894. And that year, the Democrats, his party, lost 134 seats. So that's basically historically what usually happens. The one thing that does benefit the Republicans is there are just so few congressional seats that are actually up for grabs this time around and that are actually competitive. And there's only 3 members of the House of Representatives who are Republicans that represent congressional districts that last time around went for Harris. So there's just a very small field of actual congressional districts that are competitive. But from an historical perspective, I think that Congressman Jeffries is right. And by all intents and purposes, just from purely cold calculated historical perspective, the party out of power should pick up seats in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, let me ask you about Kentucky Senator Rand Paul.
Yeah.
He says he would vote in favor of this big, beautiful bill if the debt ceiling hike was removed. He made the comment while being interviewed Sunday on CBS's Faith the Nation. Take a look at this real quick.
Look, I want to vote for it. I'm for the tax cuts. I voted for the tax cuts before. I want the tax cuts to be permanent. But at the same time, I don't want to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. So I've told him if you take the debt ceiling off the bill, in all likelihood, I can vote for what the agreement is on the rest of the bill. And it doesn't have to be perfect to my liking, but I can't be. If I vote for the $5 trillion debt, who's left in Washington that cares about the debt?
What do you make of talk like that? Because there's a lot of different angles to this bill. I mean, there's a lot of different pitfalls that could make the whole thing come crashing down. Rich.
Yeah, Rand Paul is very much independent-minded. He's more libertarian than he is Republican. And so that gives Donald Trump a lot less leverage. He can't say, for example, I'm going to try to primary Rand Paul. First of all, Rand Paul's not necessarily Rand Paul, I guess, was elected in 2010, so he would be up. He was just reelected in 2024, so there's not that much leverage that he really has on him. And Rand Paul, as I say, is really somebody who's not really necessarily a traditional type of a Republican. Rand Paul probably has more leverage in terms of getting that out of the legislation, but it's a very delicate balancing act for John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, and for Donald Trump, respectively, because on the one hand, you have Rand Paul, you have Ron Johnson to the right wing of the Republican Party, but then you also have Susan Collins, who's a vulnerable Republican up in 2026, the chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee, who it's in her political best interest it's in her political interest to try to water down the piece of legislation. The same with, to a certain degree, Tom Tillis, the Republican from North Carolina. So it's very much a delicate balancing act. But I think that Rand Paul really follows, I think, a different drummer than the president does, and most Republicans.
Rich, yeah, and ultimately this bill, the White House is talking about a 68% tax increase if it doesn't pass because, you got to get the tax cuts done. How does this not pass? I get the idea that on paper it doesn't look good. There's a lot of warring factions and Ron Johnson's going to be, true to his word and Rand Paul. But ultimately, you think everybody comes together? Because, I mean, it's kind of like you can't have this fail, or not only are Republicans going to lose the midterms, but it could just get even worse than that.
Yes, I do think at the end of the day, I think that there will be some sort of compromise with Rand Paul, with Ron Johnson on the right wing of the Republican Party. And then also they're probably going to try to give a lot of as much largesse or as whatever they possibly can to someone like Susan Collins. For Susan Collins, it's also Donald Trump and Susan Collins have a shared political interest. Donald Trump wants to maintain control of the United States Senate in 2026, and Susan Collins is the only Republican who represents a state that's up for re-election that actually went for Vice President Harris last time and went relatively comfortably. So it's in both of their interests for Susan Collins to be reelected. The same with Tom Tillis from North Carolina. He comes from North Carolina, which is a swing state, and it's in Donald Trump's interest to keep both of them in the United States Senate, and I think he knows that. So I think that they have shared interest in that respect.
I appreciate it. Got to run. We're up against a hard out here. Rich, appreciate it. Great advice. Time for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
That is a live look at the New York Stock Exchange, where Olo is ringing the opening bell this morning. They are celebrating their 20th anniversary of their founding. The CEO and founder of Olo, Noah Glass, right there ringing the opening bell. A very cool moment. Let's take you over to the major indices for an update. The Dow Jones is down about 16 points. S&P 500 up about 5. NASDAQ up about 55 points. So a little bit in the green, a little bit in the red. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the markets throughout the day. All right, since Trump was sworn in, it's incredible to think of the progress his administration has already made. It is not easy to move mountains at the speed of light. However, when they're trying to right the country, they can't also take your personal finances into account. You have to do that. And that's why thousands of Americans are buying now from Birch Gold. Here are the facts. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 30%. Central banks are buying gold in record quantities, so demand doesn't seem to be subsiding. Real reset is on the horizon, where BRICS nations are looking to unseat the US dollar as a global reserve currency. But you can find peace of mind in gold. Birch Gold makes it extremely easy to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Or you can even buy some to store in your home safe. Just text America to 989898 and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, only useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of protecting your savings today. Text America to the number 989898. Still to come on American Sunrise, President Trump called it. Joe Biden's auto pen could be one of America's biggest scandals ever. Now a watchdog may have criminal evidence of what happened during Biden's presidency. We have all the details ahead. And speaking of Joe Biden, is he to blame for the anti-Semitic terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado? Over the weekend, Trump believes so. Let's discuss why when American Sunrise returns. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.